I would say if you want a career as a filmmaker, as a documentarian, you have to go out and make stuff. Grab a camera and go tell stories. The Mars Generation is my new film, and it's kind of a big, historical, present, future, philosophical, technological look at our space program. And we do all that by sharing a journey with these kids who are attending the space camp, doing the first Mars simulation ever. This film was like big logistical film. We shot 150 interviews. We shot in the White House with President Obama. We shot with every part of the country, of the United States where they make rockets. We shot with every physicist and every astronaut, every journalist, anyone who'd ever written a book about space. And then while we were doing that, we had to actually figure out what we were going to do with all this stuff. Like, how were we going to make a story out of it? We had all of this information, and then we had to figure out how to make it a story with a beginning, middle, and an end, right? So I think that was the toughest part, just the editorial process of trying to mine through mountains and mountains and mountains of footage and interview and hours of interviews and 600 hours of space camp footage. Just getting through all that stuff took a year, just to go through it and watch it all and log it and figure out what we wanted. And then it took us almost another year of sort of crafting it, of doing the research, doing the journalism, figuring out how we were going to turn this into a movie. And then we figured it out. Yeah, Superheroes was my first film. It was a film, I had read a bunch of articles about the real life superhero movement, which was this underground movement happening of people who were developing their own kind of original superhero personas and going out in their communities as superheroes. And there's only two rules of the real life superhero community. You have to develop a real life superhero personality, you have to design your own costume, and you have to go out into your community and do good. On that film, I learned that altruism, selflessness is like true philanthropy, true sort of community organizing, like helping your community from a grassroots way is empowering, and it's possible. When people sit around and say that I can't do anything to help, that's not true. You can help. All you have to do is try. I think to make a good film, you need a great team. Everybody on your team has to understand the story you're trying to tell and also be really open to adapting that story. So when you start making a story, it's interesting because you have to do all this development and research and journalism, and then you got to go raise some money, and you got to act like you know what your film's about in order to raise money. So you need all this confidence, right? You need all this bluster, and you go and you pitch your film and you get some money, and in that moment you throw everything away. You have to, and you have to listen. And in that moment, your film should change radically, and it should become whatever the story really is. You don't get to inform the story informs you. And your whole team should be open to that change in real time, to evolving as to whatever the story is as you just sit and listen. So I think just having the patience to know that a story is going to become its own thing and have its own life is probably my secret sauce. Yeah. I would say if you want a career as a filmmaker, as a documentarian, you have to be empathetic. You have to listen to humans. You have to be patient. And you have to go out and make stuff. Grab a camera and go tell stories. Just open your eyes in your community. The stories are everywhere, everywhere. Anywhere you look, there's a fantastic story. And when you understand that as a storyteller, then you can go and find a visual aesthetic or whatever it may be, however you want to share your story. I don't care if you do it through animation, but you have to listen. You just have to listen, I think.